in our place, in our house. But there was no toilets. It was an outhouse. And so we were living, five brothers, and my father and my mother were seven people living in the two rooms. So we were sleeping, seven people in one room. And of course, like we live over here, every child has a room at least, anyways, a room and probably a study room, depending on where, how, and when. But over there, we were, like I said, the bedroom was, during the day, it was a living room and a reception room. And at night, it was the bedroom. And so we had seven people living in the bedroom. But we were happy. We knew anything. That was the life, and that's what we were used to. I attended school, and I was active even as a youngster, participating in different sports and belonging to organizations. And then came World War II, September 1st, 1939. When World War II broke out, I was 14 years old. The city of Plotzk, being 90 kilometers from the German border, took the German army 3 days to occupy to get to the city of Plotzk. So on the 10th of September, of the 10th of September, the German army occupied the city of Plotzk. And then everything, of course, changed. The first day when the regular army came in, they were just there very briefly because they moved on with the front line. But behind them came the occupation forces, consisting of SS, and I see in back you have the black uniform, the Gestapo, and the occupation. They were mean, and then all with them came all the bad laws, especially the Nuremberg laws. The Nuremberg laws, number one, were depriving us of our civil rights. With all due respect, being an American, maybe you know, maybe you don't realize, because it's difficult for one that doesn't live under those circumstances to know what it means to lose your civil rights. You are nothing, you are nobody. Anybody can do with you whatever they want. Anybody can take away from you whatever they have. You have no recourse. You cannot sue anybody. You cannot complain. You're nothing. You're just a living human being, but you're not being treated as a human being any longer. And that was the bad thing. There were many restrictions. Number one, we were not allowed to have any businesses, any properties, any foreign currency. Schools were closed during the summer, but were not reopened in September, which is usually the time when the schools reopen. And so there was education was interrupted. There was no more education. And the Nazis, especially the SS, were very brutal and doing terrible things, beating, torturing. A ghetto was formed, ordering all the Jewish people from the city of Plotzk to assemble in a certain section, a certain area, and then they had to bring in people from outside area or from the nearby villages. And so now they say that we were living in a two-room apartment, 7 people. They brought in other people, and we had to take in another family, probably of the same size. So imagine now you could have 10, 12, 14 or more people living in a two-room apartment, or you had a one room for the whole thing. And food supply were getting shorter and shorter and less and less. And you had to report them, especially men from the age of 15, 16 to 45 or 50 had to report for work. In order to get a food card, you had to report for work. If you didn't, so you didn't get the food card, so you couldn't get any food. What was the work? Some of them, of course, there's always something that is needed, but most of the time it was just to incriminate the people to do things that were not necessary at all. For instance, let's say there were a pile of rocks. We were ordered one day to take the rocks and carry them by hand, say a little distance. The next day we had to bring them back. They speak especially on the religious people to give them, to dehumanize them. For instance, they give them a bucket with water and a brush to scrub the streets. And beating and torturing, and people started to disappear.